Good morning, everyone. Everybody getting settled. I would like to call to order the June 3rd, 26th Technical Advisory Committee meeting. Staff, please call the roll so that we can establish a quorum.
At this time, I'm only asking those TAC members attending in person to respond by saying here when I call your name. Alternates, please also state your name if you are attending on behalf of a TAC representative. Zatek Marin,
Leslie Navarre on behalf of Zatek Marin.
Naresh Machavarapu,
Here.
Jim Bell,
Here.
William Lady,
Here.
Jason Kaufman,
Here.
Kenny Wilson, Denise Malone,
Here.
George Dezama, Jamie Brown, Brittany Jameson, Motassem Alturk,
Melissa Ackert here for Mo Alturk.
Brian Davis,
Present.
Natalie Crowley,
Giles Rhodes here for Natalie.
Christopher Walker,
Here.
Felipe LaFaso,
Here.
Gary Dunmeyer,
Here.
Terrence Bailey is absent, Christopher Marsh,
Here.
Joyce Kai,
Here.
Lorraine Cargill,
Jessica Vargas for Lorraine Cargill.
Kim Delaney, Giuseppe Van Ord, Jessica Keller, Alex Hansen.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you. On to item 1B, modifications to the agenda. Staff, are there any other modifications to the agenda?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay. If not, can I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So move.
Motion by Alex.
Second.
Seconded by Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Show motion passes unanimously. 1C, motion to approve the minutes for the May 6th, 2026 meeting. Are there any changes to the minutes? If not, can I have a motion to to adopt the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Brian. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jim. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Show the motion carries unanimously. On to item 1D. Instructions on how to provide public comments are included in the agenda. Staff, have there been any general comments received?
No, Madam Chair.
Great. To 1E, comments from the chair and member comments. Chair does not have any comments at this time. Are there any member comments? Okay, seeing none, on to item 1F, the TAC liaisons report. At this time, I'd like to invite Nathan George, Principal Multimodal Planner, to provide for the update.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome in. It's the closeout month for our fiscal year, so you get to look forward to our Happy New Year comments next month. But thank you for joining us. Just have a couple of updates for you today. First is an upcoming event that we're going to host tomorrow, our e-bicycle and golf cart safety webinar. Hope to see a number of you there. It's a very interesting topic. We've brought in a handful of speakers to touch on these topics of interest. So hopefully you'll hear some good things. We've got Metro Plan Orlando is going to be talking. A representative from Lime Bike is going to talk about shared micromobility. And then we've got Safe Mobility for Life to discuss golf carts, and staff will be providing oversight of that topic, of all of these topics as well. So I hope you can join us tomorrow at 9:30 for that discussion. Please register in advance, and that'll be available on all of our platforms. So look forward to seeing you there and bring your questions. We've also released a new series of tools, how-to videos, to learn how to use the MPO's interactive tools. So I encourage you to check those out. Go to our website, search the how-to videos, and explore those tools that are available for your use. And let us know if you have any comments about the tools. Bicycle Friendly America designations, those application windows are coming up later this month. June 27th is the Bicycle Friendly Communities application deadline. So I encourage you to check that out at bikeleague.org/BFA for Bicycle Friendly America. There is also an upcoming grant award opportunity through Smart Growth America, the Community Connectors Grant Program and Training. The application deadline for this program is July 17th. You can check that out at smartgrowthamerica.org and search for their Community Connectors Program. Encourage you all to continue to track progress on the countywide transportation master plan. I don't think it's any surprise that there's a lot of attention around budget right now. So definitely we want to have a really strong plan going forward and figure out how to get all of that funded. You can learn more at pbcmoves.com and continue to track progress and continue to be involved in that process. And then as always, a reminder to check out our website, search, participate to find ways to remain and get involved here at the MPO. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nathan. Staff, are there any public comments on this item?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, back to the committee. Any committee member comments on this item? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to action items. Number 2A, motion to recommend adoption of the fiscal year 27 to 31 Transportation Improvement Program. At this time, I'd like to invite Matthew Massa, Senior Transportation Planner, to provide for the update.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, members. This is the same presentation that we saw last month with a few changes, but nothing major. So it's the same FY 27 to 31 TIP presentation. So let me just get through it. So again, just to reiterate, the urban area boundaries where we coordinate, the MPO coordinates all federal and state transportation investments within the county. And those are again listed in the TIP, and those federal funds we directly receive as the MPO are prioritized in our list of priority projects and are mainly meant to be utilized within, again, that urban area. So the TIP is a 5-year funding cycle that we are currently in the 26 to 30. So the current 5th year is that 30, and then now we're going to moving into the new 31 fiscal year, which is our new 5th year. So again, we do this primarily to maintain work program stability, and that's to keep projects programmed and on their production schedule, and that's ensuring that design, engineering, construction, and eventual completion of the construction is all on time and using the funds that are initially distributed. And that process really started back in the winter and spring of 25 with the project development of the LRTP, where projects are prioritized, applications are reviewed, feasibility reviewed, ranked, and then we get into the LOPP, which was back in July of 25. That's where we create the MPO adopts its list of priority projects. So those are your major projects, local initiatives, TA, transportation alternatives, and our Sun Trail network. We get into that draft tentative work program where the MPO endorses any changes, additions, deletions, and that's presented. FDOT presents that per the statute. That was back in October 25. And then we are now here in June of 2026, presenting you the second reading of the draft 27 to 31 TIP for adoption. And the TIP is broken down into a few project sections. So the main one, again, MPO priorities. Those are your major projects, LI, TA, and SunTrail. FDOT priorities include SIS, so Strategic Intermodal System, other federally and state funded projects, airport railroads and seaport projects, and then of course your district-wide, so D4 district-wide projects. We also have operations and maintenance included, so that's your railway and transit. And then for informational purposes, the MPO produces a locally funded project list. And again, just a guide, this is a guide to the summary tables in your backup where your years and priorities will be on the left. Common years adopted in the TIP, so you'll be seeing 27 to 31 with the new 5th year being 31. And then we also provide, if available, funding still needed in that additional column. And the funding breakdown, it's about $3 billion for federal state turnpike funds here in Palm Beach County. Of that, $418 million are MPO priorities, are MPO priority projects. Of that $418 million, 249 are roadway capacity. So that's your Atlantic Avenue projects, for instance. 63 million are for complete street projects, 73 for signals and intersections, 20 million for transit, vehicles and shelters, and then 14 for lighting and safety. And then just to highlight again some of those major MPO priority updates. These projects are now fully funded. Forest Hill lighting, bus stops, construction 31, Congress Avenue lighting, crosswalks, again in 31, construction. Indian Town Road at Central Boulevard, that's PE for 28. Palm Beach County flashing yellow arrows, construction at 31, and then Palm Beach County signal upgrades, again in construction of 31. And these are on the state road system, as opposed to our local initiatives where we have Palm Beach County flashing yellow arrows that are also funded. This is our last LI project to be fully funded. This is off the state road system. We also have our TA alternative projects. These are all funded for construction in fiscal year 29. We have Northeast 2nd Ave from Lake Worth Road to Congress Ave pathways, North Military Trail from Gardens Lake Drive to I-95, and then we also have Winchester Drive to the E3 Canal pathway. We have Northeast 4th Street from Swinton Ave to Northeast 7th Ave, traffic calming, and then Kirk Road from 10th Ave to Canal 9 Road, and that's a shared use pathway. And then again, just to reiterate, strategic intermodal system, that's $1.6 billion, 1.45 billion is for turnpike capacity projects. That's our 12 turnpike projects. And then we have $112 million for 11 I-95 interchange newer modification projects. And just to show you a breakdown from north to south of 95 projects, Central is a new TDI project, a new tight diamond interchange project. 45th is also a tight diamond interchange project, and then 10th Ave, Lantana, and Hyperlux are our diverging diamond interchange projects. Those are all on PE currently, and then Boynton Beach Boulevard is currently under construction. And then turnpike projects are all the same again. The only exception is the addition of the north of Sawgrass Expressway to Glades Road. That was done, added in by at the request of Turnpike, just for consistency between the Broward County line and the Palm Beach County lines, and that's for a study in 28 for widening to 10 lanes. Other than that, the other projects are the same, where we have current construction on Southern Boulevard, West Palm Beach Service Plaza area, and the Boynton Beach Boulevard area, which are in Broward County line north of Glades Road, and the Boynton Beach area near the West Palm Beach Service Plaza that's nearing completion. And then we also have a study for Hyperluxo Road new interchange scheduled in 28 as well. And again, review period was from April 29th to June 18th, so the review period is still ongoing. This draft was presented first in May to everyone, where we did some updates to project details that you'll see in the backups for operations and maintenance projects. We went ahead and did interactive mapping, so you'll see that on our website on palmbeachmpo.org/map. And also at the tip review tool pictured here. And then transit and local projects were also reviewed and added. And then again, final adoption will be at the governing board meeting, June 18th. And this is now a motion to recommend adoption for the FY 27 to 31 tip.
Great. Thank you, Matthew. Steph, do we have any comments, public comments on this item?
Oh, we do. We have an online public comment.
Kashid Mayuddin with Palm Beach
Okay,
County
you can
Planning.
proceed with your comment, Kashid.
Pardon me? Yeah, I unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning, Kashid Mayuddin with Palm Beach County Planning. I have a question on one of the item, I believe it's 18-1C. It talks about some money for the feasibility study on Okeechobee Boulevard, about 1.9 million. And it says in the description, it says that it's consistent with the planning study recommendation, MPO's planning study recommendation. If somebody can give a further detail, what was the recommendation from that study? Just a little bit more detail. Have no other issue. Thank you much.
Thank you, Kashid. Brian Dusher, Deputy Director of Multimodal. 18-1C reflects the request of the MPO and the Department of Transportation's agreement to study the long-range vision that was established in the 2022 multimodal corridor study for Okeechobee Boulevard and State Road 7 that was developed from 2018 to 2022. We should have recommendations for that study in the next few months. We've talked with them about modeling, ridership, and whatnot, but we are waiting for the final results to come out before we can move that project through. The project is phased, so the first phase will be ridership, traffic analysis, and the second phase would be looking at feasibility beyond that. So that's the update we have for that project.
Good. Thank you.
Okay. Back to the committee. We have a couple committee comments. I'm not sure. First, would you like to go first? Okay, Jason.
Thank you, Matthew. Just out of curiosity, on the Turnpike and 95 tables, it lists preliminary engineering and construction funding. Where does final design and final engineering fall in there?
So that would, it just depends on the. Andrew will answer.
What you saw on this is Andrew Euler, Deputy Director of Programs at the MPO. That's when the funding occurs for that fiscal year. And so design would start that year sometime within that fiscal year. And then it would potentially go on for a year or two, year and a half, up to 2 years. So
But the funding under PE, that
Yep.
includes all the design funding?
correct.
Okay.
Yes. So it would be like, for example, if it was in fiscal year 26, which kicked off in July 1st of 2025, design would start, like 30% plans would start that year sometimes, and then it would move on. All the funding's in that year, and for the most part, they'll finish funding it in that year, but 30, 60, 90 plans would come over the course of a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah. But all the funding is in that specific fiscal year, correct? And then on the back, just one more point on that. Every committee meeting, one of our items in the backup is the scheduling report for the next 90 days. So you'll see when those different items come up, those different phases come up for 30, 60, 90 plans, among other milestones, is provided in the backup. But that's just the next 90 days. We do have the full report if you need to know specifically when particular 30, 60, 90 plans are anticipated.
Okay, thank you. Alex?
Yeah, the proposed TIP includes the extension of State Road 7 to Nortec Boulevard, and has been mentioned repeatedly, the city of West Palm Beach is opposed to this project. As a result, I cannot support the item as proposed, so I'll be voting against it. And I'll ask that the reason for my vote be included into the record. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments from the committee? I don't see any, so I need a motion to recommend approval of the item so I can open the floor for further discussion.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Christopher.
Second.
Seconded by Brian. Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Thank you, and we'll note Alex's comment for the record. All right.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
To the next item, 2B, motion to recommend adoption of Amendment 2 to the Long Range Transportation Plan. I'd like to invite Andrew Euler, Deputy Director of Programs, to provide the update.
Morning again, Andrew Euler. So this is the second amendment to the Long Range Transportation Plan, our 2050 plan. We had our first amendment last meeting, which involved County Road 880. So that was one single product. This amendment is a more sweeping update for various changes within the LRTP. And we're looking to do these more periodically, either every year or every other year, as we try to sort of keep this a living document and rolling those years forward and see how this works out for us. The backup provided a summary page that talked about all the revisions that were accompanying in this packet. And so the main pages that were changed were available in your packet, and then the full document is available on the website. And so as a reminder, what this impacts is products in the LRTP that are being added to it. Here are what triggers really an amendment for that. A lot of these are going to be added projects, and then also adding some phases to particular projects. As a reminder, our Metropolitan Planning Organization does prioritize urban area formula funds from the federal government, but and we do coordinate the prioritization of a lot of state funds. But the MPO as a whole is countywide. That's the planning area boundary. And so it does approve all federal and state funds that come to our county. So this document is really setting that vision to 2050 about how we're going to utilize those federal and state funds that come to our county and where we want to prioritize those. And Matthew showed this slide in his presentation related to the TIP development process. I think it's always a good reminder to kind of show this slide again and where we're at in the process. So the LRTP is really that first step. It is our long-term vision. And products that make it into the Transportation Improvement Program ultimately are meant to come out of the Long-Range Transportation Plan. And so this is an updated timeline as we look towards the next TIP. And right now, we've gotten our products in from our call for products, which you'll see here. We added products to the Long-Range Transportation Plan. And then there's going to be new products in the list of priority projects, which is coming to the committees and board next month. And then after that makes our work program, and then we have our final approval of the next TIP in June of next year. So the LRTP and the TIP are required to be consistent with those projects. And so a lot of these edits you'll see today to the LRTP involve creating that consistency. One of the major things we changed, but just document-wide, is the fiscal years. So the current LRTP was adopted with the fiscal year 25 to 29 fiscal year as that first 5 years. This is shifting that by 1 year and going to our currently adopted fiscal year 26 to 30 TIP. And then also changes that next year to have 5 years total for fiscal year 31 to 35. So with that, we looked at the products in the TIP and made this consistent. The revenue will change also by 1 fiscal year. So you're dropping a year, and we know which ones are actually programmed for that new year. And then everything else in the outer years really remains the same. So outside of this, the fiscal year change, some of the other major revisions within this amendment. The first one is revenue sources that are available to the MPO to prioritize. And so the first one is the removal of the carbon reduction funds that the MPO was receiving in the current federal transportation bill. The state of Florida retracted these funds, and we've been through this process, I think, last year with shifting those out of the TIP and replacing those with other state funding sources that the state had. But this removes about $2.8 million a year that the MPO directly prioritized towards those. So that's the first change. And the other funding sources we have in the federal government that you already may know about that we prioritize are the Surface Transportation Block Grant funds that come to our area, and then transportation alternatives. So those are the two main federal funding sources that we have to prioritize. This was that third source, and that's the one that's being removed. And then this next one was already in the document under more of a district-wide discretionary, but it's better, I believe, to be reflected under our prioritization process. And this is adding this category of non-strategic intermodal system and non-state highway system funding. And so really what those are not anything that goes towards the SIS network, but also not on the state highway network. So it's all these local roadways. And it's mostly state funds. There's a little bit of federal funds in that bucket. And that could be products such as the County Incentive Grant Program or the Small County Outreach Program. SCOP and SIGP fall into those categories. At the LRTP level, it's lumped together. But both of those, among other state discretionary programs that come to our county, are required to be in the LRTP for consistency. And so that's why I felt it was better to have it under this section. So those are the two main things: removal of the federal carbon reduction funds, and then adding that other roads to come up from the District 4 total to the MPO total. And then I would say that the larger amendment for this document is really changes to projects, especially the addition of projects to our illustrative list, and then some revisions to the cost feasible plan. And so the product sections in our long-range transportation plan are larger buckets than they are in our transportation improvement program. The first is just the cost feasible plan, which is by time band. These are all the ones that are programmed for funding over the next 25 years up to 2050 with federal and state funds. And we have the tables both for MPO priorities, which is prioritized using the funds you just saw, and then the strategic intermodal system, which are those high capacity products for the state. Outside of the cost feasible plan, the MPO also has a supportive list of products called the illustrative list. And the illustrative list is all ones that are products that might be submitted by locals, there might be MPO priorities or FDOT priorities or other partners, but there's no specific cost estimate assigned to it yet. There may not be any federal funds available for it, so maybe it has a cost estimate, there's just not enough funds for it. It might have a limited scope, so a detailed cost estimate can be created. So those are all supported for federal and state funds, but they're not in the cost feasible plan. And then the last two supported categories are maintenance products, which are really a lump sum, and then airports and seaports products, which are a lump sum. So we show those, which we get from the Port of Palm Beach, airports, which are, there's no changes to those in this document, but I wanted to reflect that they are supported products. And then lastly, there are, it's in the appendix of our document, other products that were submitted that are not right now formally supported for federal and state funding, but they are there for informational purposes. So the major updates we'll have here when it comes to new projects in the cost feasible plan is really 5 new major products and 7 transportation alternatives products, which are requesting funding in the upcoming TIP. So if you think back a few slides when we talk about the development of the new TIP, these are products that were submitted to us in this last round for call for projects. We are now putting those as proposed in the time bands of the TIP, and then the first 5 years after that to be programmed for funding in that TIP. These are all still proposed, so the final adoption of these really is based on if they make it into the work program and the TIP, but we're trying to create that consistency now. So these products have been vetted and are cost feasible. They've been vetted by by FDOT and by the MPO with site visits. So they're ready for the work program, ready for the TIP in some capacity for their phases. And now we're showing those projects. And then outside of those new products, we do have other costs that were updated to be consistent with the fiscal year 26 through 30 TIP. So any new current products that are in the TIP were updated for consistency. And then, so that's the cost feasible plan required for federal and state funding to be shown there. Then back to that illustrative list. So these are all the ones that no funding has been identified for federal and state funds to be put in the cost feasible yet. This is that illustrative list, but they are supported if these municipalities want to move towards discretionary grants, or if we can work with them to get into the cost feasible plan. And so Nathan George and Matthew Massa on our team, along with others, looked at the recently adopted mobility plans or created mobility plans by a lot of our partners. So Green Acres, Lake Clark Shores, Lake Park, Lake Worth Beach, Tequesta, and Wellington. And so if you're one of those, you'll see those products now listed in this illustrative list. It's in the backup material, and you'll see it says illustrative products new. And so there's 215 of those. Many of these products align with our goals and objectives as an agency. They don't really have many major environmental constraints at this time or other issues. So that's why they made it to the illustrative list. A lot of them do not have really refined scopes. It's very high level scopes. They may not have cost estimates. They may not have commitments to ongoing operations and maintenance. It hasn't been identified to figure out who's going to construct it. So that's why it may have gotten into the illustrative list and not been considered for the cost feasible plan. If you're one of these municipalities and you have a product in the illustrative list, or the ones that are already included when we adopted our LRTP, it's our staff's goal this year to continue to work with you to see if we can get these in the cost feasible plan. So refine those scopes, get you some cost estimates, and put that into the cost feasible plan to get in that pipeline. it's currently open for public review. And it's going to be seen by the committees this month, the TAC and CAC, and then it goes to the governing board for adoption this month as well. Okay, and that's all I have for you.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. We appreciate that. Staff, are there any comments from the public on the item?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, back to the committee. Any committee comments? Again, I'm not sure who went first. We'll go with Alex and then Jason.
Andrea, I just want to understand better. Out of the list of projects that we have in here, so I believe there's like 21 pages worth of projects. All of those projects are part of the amendment?
Sure.
And also, as far as the consistency between this and the TIP, there are projects in the TIP that this board just adopted that I do not see included here. So this is not again, so the projects that we're seeing here are only the projects for which there's some sort of amendment. Am I correct, or?
And I'll be more specific with my response here. I think if you see in the backup, you should assume that it's part of the amendment. So as I look for this list, because we did a lot of revisions to products as well. And so, for example, State Road 7, I would say is considered part of this amendment.
It is, but it's not.
Everything's been made consistent with the TIP.
Because I don't see it here, for example. I don't see State Road 7 in this 21 pages of the
Understood. Yeah,
LRTP.
okay.
So is it part of the amendment? Is it not?
It
and
is.
Again, going back to the consistency between the LRTP and the TIP, I'm trying to understand how this deals with that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, the cost feasible list is in here. It's I see State Road 7 here on page 64, 65. In your backup, I'd have to look at the agenda page number, but in the LRTP packet that was provided, it's going to be the spread under MPO priorities cost feasible. And I see State Road 7 here at the bottom, both the products from the TIP. So that's LRTP page 64, 65, at the bottom. So we did a lot of revisions to products in the TIP, and we're showing the full cost feasible here. So it is part of the LRTP amendment. And if you saw any projects that are in this 27 through 31 TIP that are SIS capacity products or MPO priorities that are not reflected in the LRTP, please let us know, because we are required to put those in there. We'll have a little bit of time because we're starting that soon, but we would need to get those in there.
I've scrolled up and down this table, at least the one that was provided to us in the agenda backup, and I do not see that. Also, I do not see, again, the rail passenger extension to Northern Palm Beach County. So, which I know it's in the TIP, has been there for a number of years. Because the page numbers that you mentioned they're different from the document that was part of the agenda backup that we were provided. So,
sure. 1 second, I can try to find it here.
If you look at the bottom of page 39 in the backup, that's where it is.
Page 39.
Thank you.
okay. Okay. I stand corrected then. Okay, thank you.
You found it there? I look like in the backup, I see it's page 38 of the PDF. And then page 64, 65 of the LRTP.
And is the passenger rail service extension?
That one isn't cost feasible. It should be listed. If anything was in the cost feasible plan for that, it would just be the study. That's already occurring, so it may not be in there at all. It's most likely an illustrative list, because none of those phases for the passenger rail service, we can't move forward until we have O&M commitment. And so we're not listing that as cost feasible, along with any of the other major 561 priorities, at least all the way through construction, because we don't have O&M commitments.
Okay.
Still supported by the agency, but not cost feasible.
Okay. All right, Jason.
Okay, my question is related to the cost feasible tables. The column that says LRTP number, it seems like it's coded by the municipality who submitted the project through the process. Is the expectation that that municipality is going to run with that project? And I ask because there's several locations that we identified as suggested projects, but those are state or county roads that we've identified that something is needed based on, crash history or safety concerns. But we don't want it to be noted here that the city is expected to run with the project.
Good question. No, it was really more of a product sponsor at the time of submittal.
Okay.
We tried our best if we knew it was going to be like something that, like if you submitted something that the state's already sort of considered or like has something like roadway, it would be coded as like a state project. But if you're seeing a municipality code for the number, that's really a reference to like a product sponsor. It doesn't mean that they're going to be the one who delivers it though.
Okay. Thank you.
And it's a good point to follow up on too, right? Where we do have a preliminary scoring for all, there's a scoring for this from the LRTP that aligns with the goals objectives. It's 25 metrics, yes or no's on those. And we have that scoring and we're working through those this year to work with the product sponsors and then whoever may own the roadway or the transportation facility to start getting those things either in the cost feasible plan or into the work program if they're ready.
Okay, I don't see any other cards for comments from the committee. With that, I need a motion to recommend approval of the item, and then I can open up the floor for any discussion. Do I have a motion for approval? Was it, okay. Giles, any second to that motion?
Second.
Jason? Okay, sorry. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay.
Nay, and again, for the same reasons that I opposed the TIP previously. Stereo 7.
Okay, show the motion passes with the 1 nay. Okay, the next item are administrative items. Items 4A through 4C are informational only. There will be no staff presentations unless requested by a committee member. Staff, are there any public comments on the item?
No, Madam Chair.
Any committee comments? Okay, seeing none. Our next TAC meeting is scheduled for July 1st. At this time, our committee meeting is adjourned. Have a good day.